me. I've actually done a separate video on this. Like I said, I was having Wi-Fi problems and I found a little way of mitigating against it, people. But if we just look at these comments really quickly, this is in the first half from minute 1 to 10. I think we made a good start. I think Ceballos looked lively. I feel Palace couldn't get out of their own half. I did feel Ceballos looked like he was going to be the one to make a difference. He's playing some good passes. I did think Palace were a bit more reluctant and a bit more scared than I thought. It's like Eze, a couple of times he could have really driven and got at Bellerin. A player, someone like him, should be relishing playing against. I think he elected to go inside too much and find Benteke and Zaha. I think we were getting quite tight to Zaha. You know, we kept him fairly quiet. This is in minute 20. I think we was doing all right for 20 minutes. I think we should have had a pen in the 27th, but up until minute 20, I wanted to see a bit more of the control in the midfield. For as good as Ceballos is playing, I think we needed more shots. We're not working the keeper, as I said. I think the one shot you saw from Aubameyang, you saw how booky the keeper is, and we didn't test him enough. I did think, our set pieces, were quite poor, personally. I love Bukayo Saka, but for the last couple of games, those of you that watch my live streams, I've been saying stuff like, Saka's crossing has been poor, and I've now seen Saka, Pepe, Willian, Reece Nelson. It seems like no one can cross a ball at this team. I think our crossing was poor. And I think while we had large bouts of possession and we definitely had a ridiculous amount of corners, I don't really feel we're cutting Palace open. We're not really creating any problems. I think Palace are doing quite well. They're playing 4-4-2, 11 men behind the ball, 2 banks of 4, rigid to break down. Everything was really coming from their side, from the sides. Bellerin with a couple overhit crosses that Aubameyang actually did well for one of them to keep it alive. Obviously, the build-up when Bellerin took it upon himself to take the ball off Lacazette. Aubameyang's shot came from a wide area. With the exception of Maitland-Niles' one where he did a little shimmy and shot a tame effort. The bulk of our play with any confidence was coming from wide areas or wide positions. Even Maitland, he had a couple of times decent in the final third, but consistency and that bit of quality on the ball was lacking. I did feel Palace were growing, and that was my one big fear. The more you don't take advantage of your home, of playing at home and score goals and really cement your victory or trying to win, I think you're allowing them to grow confidence, because I did feel the game in the 20th minute onwards, it started to open a bit. There started to be attacking transitions for both sets of players, and there were times they caught us on the counter attack when Bellerin was out of position and stuff like that. And the one big thing is, in true Arsenal fashion, you expect us to have all this possession, all these chances and all these things. They get one opportunity, they score and make the difference. Like I said, this is how I felt in the first 20. For the 10-minute passage from minute 20 to 30, I feel, like I said, Palace was growing. Benteke was getting on the ball and having half-hearted efforts. And if he had a bit more quality, they probably could have scored then. This is meant to say create. That's a poor way to spell create. But, they're starting to create chances. Zaha is starting to threaten on the counter and he's starting to win fouls. So they are starting to wake up. In the last 15 minutes, I think Palace had a very strong period and they had arguably the 2 best chances of the game for all our dominance in possession and corners and the rest of it, people. And I didn't want us to go 1-0 down, 2-0 down before we wake up and we think, okay, cool, we need a bit of urgency. We need to cut them open. You all saw in the 38th minute Tompkins' effort off the bar. You all saw a big save from Bernd Leno in the 41st minute as well to save our bacons. And that was my fear as well, because going into half-time, if I'm Crystal Palace, if I'm Roy Hodgson, I'm saying, look, everything I told you happened. Arsenal will huff and puff, but they won't take advantage. If we just remain penned in, hold our shape, we'll have half a chance. I'd also be saying, they ain't really tested Guito, really and truly. We've had better chances than them, and it's still 0-0. Every reason for them to have confidence. And Palace, in a couple of big games this season, they've done all right for all the L's they may or may not have taken. And that's what you're scared of. You're scared of a fight back. For us, we need to wake up. Xhaka and Ceballos have created a couple chances. Aubameyang's huffed and puffed. Maitland-Niles has lacked quality but tried to get forward. So Bios, like I said, probably the one to look for in terms to make something happen. Saka and Smith Rowe could wake up a bit, but we need to do a lot more. We really need to do a lot more. As I keep saying, we had a lot of possession and we had a lot of corners, did F all with it. did F all with it. Not really. The crucially, if you don't shoot, you don't score. And I would have thought a team that's starting to score and starting to win and is confidence take shots and force the issue a bit, really and truly. We need to do a lot more. We need a lot more from everybody, not just one individual. Second half, I felt, we did come out initially in the first 10 strong. I think we did delay with the subs a bit, Arteta, but ultimately it came to nothing. More often than not, we went back into old habits, people. The old habits that I thought may have deserted us with these 4 wins on the trot. Stale passes, no real intention, no invention, no creative sort of play. Everybody passing the buck, no one trying to force things. We went back into old habits. We're playing ridiculously backwards, and ultimately it was that same old stale football is why we're in this mess in the first place. No ideas and no movement. It comes down to the players to have the mental capacity to do such. But once again, it comes down to management. I feel once again it highlighted that we need a creative 8.5, as I call it, or a number 8. We have gone 5 games against this team, and it's been 4 games. They've gone 4 games unbeaten against us, and it's starting to become abundantly clear why. And now it's 5 after this game. Fundamentally, on one hand, I feel it's a good point because, it's a team that's near us in the league table. Palace is a team that's not lost in 4 against us. They're a good team and they have our number. And the way we're playing, let's not forget, we might have been winning games, but it's still dodgy whenever we play. I'll take a point against Palace. And considering the fact that they had 2 good chances and on another day for Arsenal fans, it's 2-0 defeat. It's a point in it. It's better than nothing. It's another point to fight another day. We might have dropped 2 points. Hopefully we can get a victory against Newcastle. It is what it is. For me, it's disappointing because I hear the manager talk in the pre-game about our season's more or less on the line. We've got an important 6 points and all of these sort of things. And I didn't see a team playing like it badly, that they knew the repercussions if they drop points. I didn't see people of the approach of, if you want these 3 points, you've got to take it over my dead body sort of thing. Or if you want a point from us, you've got to fight from it. I didn't see any of that, people. So I feel cheated. I feel cheated because, we didn't create efforts. We didn't take any minimal chances. We didn't control the game for large periods how I would like to have controlled it. We crept into old habits. Ultimately, I have to say there's an air of complacency. Nobody forced the issue and tried to make things. And I think it showed it showed that we need, like I said, it showed we need a creative midfielder in this market. And I hope the pressure still remains on Edu. I think it showed how much we rely on players that are missing. Martinelli for his energy, Tierney for his energy, but also what he gives us down the left-hand side. I feel it showed when our current informed players, the Lacazette, Smith, Rose, and Saka's, Saka's Mr. Consistent, so maybe not him too much. But when these men are having an off day, other people can't pick up the slack. I'm not excusing these players for not performing, but I think it's shown that. So it is what it is in that regards, people. And for me, if anybody needed it, once again, still need a creative player. Do not let 3 or 4 games or form gas you. These players are still quite capped. I don't even think you lot can see that point. Apologies, let me remove that. Do not to let form gas you. A lot of these players are hot and cold. You don't know what you're getting from week to week. We still need a creative player. And fundamentally, for me, if anybody needed it, it's a reality check that this team has a long way to go and it can't get too far with these individuals, people. It is what it is in that regards, man. We don't have any ideas, really and truly, man.